Mhm. Streaming live on YouTube.
And I'm gonna, Linda, I'm gonna put folks on mute. I see the Lynette's and Cameron. Does he know he's about to sing?
No, I don't think so. That's a little bit of a surprise, I think.
Okay, but fortunately, he'll be able to do this without any challenges whatsoever, because he'll be singing on a recording. Shabbat Shalom and welcome. As you will notice, it's icing up outside. Given the weather, you'll notice I'm here, not here at the synagogue, but I'm here in my study. We welcome Shabbat. As we do so, we invite Michelle and Rebecca Rosen to lead us this evening in our candlelighting, page 120.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. Unmute, Linda.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. We now turn to page 138 as Linda leads us as we continue to welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi lekrat kala B'nei Shabbat nikabila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabila. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. Yishmi'anu el hamichad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shem u'tiferet be'elitila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabila. Lekrat Shabbat lefinu v'nelcha. Ki hi mekor habracha. Merosh mikerem nesucha. Sof maseh v'ma Shabbat lehila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabila. Boi v'shalom ateret bala. Gam b'simcha u'tzola. Tohem u'neat sigula. Boi chala. Boi chala. Boi chala. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabila.
We turn in our prayer books to page 144 for the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadav yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach hiute v'amlich mahute. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayedekho beit Yisrael. Bagala u'vizman kariv v'himeru. Amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevorach le'alam u'le'me'amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnase v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudisha brihu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imeru. Amen.
Page 146. For those who are able, we invite you to rise.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam vahed.
Page 149. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of life. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of life. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Baruch atah Adonai hamahari v'aravim.
Page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vahed.
Please be seated. We turn to page 154 for the Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibartam bam, b'shivtecha, b'vetecha, uvlechtecha v'derek, ushokbecha, uvkumecha, ukshartam lehot al yodecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, Uchtavtam al mizuzot betecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru v'hasitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kidoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Emet, page 156. I'm reading towards the bottom of the page. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. Mi Chamocha will be found on page 158.
La 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 Mi chamocha bailim Adonai Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh No tilo do sefer No sepele Malchutecha ra'uvanecha Lo heyam lifnei Moshe Malchutecha ra'uvanecha Lo heyam lifnei Moshe Say, say li Anu be'yaveru Adonai lo Leolam, leolam vahed La 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 la
We turn to page 160. Grant, O God, that We lie down in peace, hashkivenu, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. We now turn to page 162. Yismechu is our second paragraph down on the page.
Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomri, 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 Shabbat, v'koreu nek Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomri, 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 Shabbat, v'koreu nek Shabbat. Mikadashei sheli Shabbat, kulam yisbehu v'yitangu mituvach Shabbat. Yisbehu v'malachutecha, shomri, 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 Shabbat, v'koreu nek Shabbat. Yisbehu v'malachutecha, shomri, 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 Shabbat, v'koreu nek Shabbat. V'yashvi ratzita bo v'kiddush Shabbat, chemdat yamim oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomri, 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 Shabbat, v'koreu nek Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomri, 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 Shabbat, v'koreu nek Shabbat. Zecher l'maaseh b'reshit Shabbat. Zecher l'maaseh b'reshit Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomri, 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 Shabbat, v'koreu nek Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomri, 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 Shabbat, v'koreu nek Shabbat.
Our service now continues, page 164. For those who are able, we invite you to rise for the tefillah. We'll be chanting the prayers on the right-hand pages to page 170.
Adonai sifai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibur v'Hanara, El Elyon Gomer חסדים טובים וקונאי הכל וזוכר חסדיו ואימהות ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ושרד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מקלקל חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומק נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידה מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומזמיע ישועה ונאמן אתה להיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God.
Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. This Shabbat preceding Purim is known as Shabbat Zachor, the Sabbath of Remembrance. There's a second Torah reading about remembering Amalek, the tribe whom the Torah describes as launching a genocidal attack against the people, targeting the most vulnerable. The segment says, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek baderech b'tzetechem mimitzrayim. Remember what Amalek did to you on your journey after you left Egypt. How, undeterred by fear of God, he surprised you on the march, when you were famished and weary, and cut down all the stragglers in your rear. Therefore, when Adonai your God grants you safety from all your enemies around you, in the land that Adonai your God is giving you as a hereditary portion, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Lo tishkach, do not forget. Our sages envisioned Haman as descending from these people, and indeed, he was the type of heir as he embraced their cynicism and utter disregard for human life. We remember all this not to wallow in despair, but to champion its opposite, respect and human dignity. We know Amalek's spiritual descendants continue to proliferate Myanmar, China, Russia, and Iran. An email arrived today about an anti-Semitic incident, a swastika, in the biology physics building at UConn. Hence, we need to remain steadfast in the determination to be agents of shalom and wholeness. Shalom Rab translates abundant peace. Each day and on Shabbat Zachor, let us determine to be shalom's advocate. Our prayer is on page 178.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lekol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lekol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Ochav Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Ochav Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Hasim
We pause for silent prayer.
Shalom bimromav uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
And now, as we ready for our Torah reading, Linda first prepares us in this segment of our worship with Ki Mitzion.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Midbar Adonai miYerushalayim.
As we pick up our reading from the book of Exodus, here's the scene. Moses is on top of Mount Sinai. The people are camped at the base of the mountain. God asks Moses to collect donations from each person whose heart is willing. The term used for donation, truma, is the name of this week's portion. The word itself has its association with the idea of raising up, the idea that giving can elevate us. The tabernacle, the wilderness sanctuary, a big tent that will be created along with lots of furnishings for the inside, will require a lot of precious items. They will be described in considerable detail in these coming weeks. As one of our Torah students likes to exclaim, God is a micromanager. And why not? These substances, rich in allegory, offer special context. For as a modern scholar explains, now free, the Jewish people could celebrate that by avowing a sacred connection. As we hear the list of various materials described, it's worth knowing that the 7 categories mentioned, metals, yarn, skins, wood, oil, spices, and gemstones, represent a type of completeness in the ancient Semitic world. I find it also very important that the dimensions of the tabernacle to be built resemble what a pharaoh's tent would look like during an Egyptian military campaign. Notice how these former Egyptian slaves transformed Pharaoh's military tent, an image of war and cruelty, into one of hope and peace. Melissa, Jess, and Jared will be doing our Aliyah this evening. And right before you do so, let me pull up on my screen right here where we will be beginning. And now for the blessing.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamhara, Baruch Adonai Hamhara Leolam Vaed, Baruch Adonai Hamhara Leolam Vaed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe, and God spoke to Moses Lemor, saying, Deber el bnei Yisrael, speak to the children of Israel, to the Israelites, Bichu li truma, me'et kol ish asher yudvenu libo, and to accept a truma, a gift from every person whose heart is willing, techu et trumati, they can, you can accept for me gifts. V'zot hatruma asher tichu me'itam, and these are the gifts that you may accept: zachav, gold, kesef, silver, v'nechoshet, and copper, the techelet, blue, the argamam, purple, the toalat shani, and crimson yarns, the shesh, and fine linen, the izim, and goat's hair, the orot elim, the adamim, and tan ram skins, varot tachashim, other skins, let's say shitim, acacia wood, shemen lamaor, oil for lighting, that'll be for lighting the menorah, besamim l'shemen hamishcha, and spices for the anointing oil, v'liktorat hasamim, an aromatic incense, avnei shoham, lapis lazuli, the avnei mitluim, other precious stones, la'ephod, for the ephod, type of garment being worn, v'lachoshem, and for the breastplate, v'su li mikdash, and you should make for me a sanctuary, v'shachanti b'tocham, and I may dwell amongst them. Kochol asher ani mara'e otcha, and all that I am showing to you, et tavnit mishkan, for the design of the tabernacle, vet tavnit kol kelav, and for all of its furnishings, ken ta'asu, thus you shall do, thus you shall make. And our blessing after the reading.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Just lovely. Linda now leads us as we conclude this segment with Etz Chaim Hi, that our Torah is a tree of life.
Etz Chaim Hi lemachazikim ba, v'tomcheha meushar, derachei darchei noam, v'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
We now pray on behalf of dear ones within and beyond our congregational family who are ill and in need of healing. We include Chaya Naomi Bat Sarah Pesach, Robert Dower, Janet and Jim Dias, Alan Elias, Zena Garber, Joyce Hoser, Wendy Hoser, Ed Jantz, Jeff Levy, Leah Linton, Susan Napoti, Art Phillips, West Schoenfuss, Michael Schwartz, Alan Stein, Michael Walsh. We also pray for all people fighting COVID-19. I now invite you to unmute and say out loud the names of those for whom we likewise pray this Shabbat.
Larry Lefkoff and Bess Abramson.
Dov Gold Medina, Tricia Shimamura.
Marge Goldberg.
Charlotte Berman.
Eric
Lane
Goldstein.
Rosenthal.
For all, may the Holy One send healing and shelter in protection. We sing Mishabera.
Mishabera avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishabera imotenu mikor habracha lehavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts last month as you looked at the invasion of the Senate chambers, or the vandalism and damage in the Capitol building from the January 6th insurrection? Notice how so much of the language was couched in religious terms. The desecration of a temple of democracy. The message, because of the building's symbolism and history, it deserves special awe. Almost 2 years ago, I watched the images of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris on fire. I called Father Joe. We spoke of the special significance of that grand, awe-inspiring house of worship. Back in November, as I prepared for our annual Kristallnacht commemoration, I reviewed the photos of synagogues and their contents that had been intentionally destroyed by the Nazis. Seeing the destruction, my sadness was nearly palpable. This week's Torah portion reminds us of having a place to center our activities and to celebrate our dreams and aspirations. that synagogues and cathedrals and Capitol buildings elevate us. God says, as we heard, Vasuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, and let them build me a sanctuary that I may dwell amongst them. Our rabbis teach, God says, I will not dwell in it, the sanctuary, but among them, the people. God is infinite, beyond measure, beyond finite space. God's presence is not more consecrated in our sanctuary's walls than elsewhere. Yet that place can have the concentrated effect of opening hearts to God and Jewish tradition. A wise rabbi explains, God exists everywhere, but not everywhere do we feel the presence of God in the same way. Fortunately, our sanctuary has not been attacked, nor, thank God, accidentally damaged. Still, on account of this ongoing pandemic, it has been essentially off limits and missed. What are our thoughts hearing these words of Torah set against the background of my books in my study? Many of the worshipers with us on Zoom or YouTube tonight often spend hours weekly in our sanctuary and building, albeit not since last March. That absence, too, from our treasured space is almost palpable as I miss our sanctuary this evening. I hasten to add that however physically absent we've been from our spiritual center, in no way have we abandoned it. Instead, we've practiced exemplary resilience, responsibility, and patience as we've seen its image and awaited our return. And just as with past generations of Jews and others who with confidence and tender poignancy rebuilt or reconsecrated or returned to their awe-inspired spaces, so too we will have our turn. It will be, as tradition hopes, bimhira v'yameinu, speedily and in our days. Statistics are moving in the right direction, with some progress in containing the pandemic and the inoculation of our most vulnerable. May that prayer soon be actualized, bimhira v'yameinu, speedily and in our days. In the interim, our sanctuary is quietly watched and attended to as it awaits the return of our membership and friends. Step by step, and with all sorts of public health precautions, dwelling there with God and one another will be a re-established norm. Slowly, we will rebuild our attendance on the campus. Yet let us expect the experience and ongoing challenges to make us more adaptive, more resourceful, more inclusive, to strengthen our outreach and heighten our accessibility from our sanctuary and building and congregation to the distant or homebound. For the past year has also demonstrated our determination and ingenuity to transmit Torah and gather community, irrespective of circumstances and locales, even in this study. God's omnipresence and Jewish connection, ancient and ongoing, also have a sacred and established home in cyberspace. That too should be an immutable part of our future. A prayer for being in a sanctuary directly quotes the Torah. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. How fair are your how fair are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. Having built and preserved our awesome spiritual home, may the tent of our sanctuary soon again be open wide to safely broadcast and celebrate the lessons of Torah to the near and the far. And while we remain patient and responsible, we are determined. Ken Yehi Ratzon, be this God's will. Our service now continues, page 586, with the Aleinu. We invite those who wish to rise. The Aleinu that we chant is the second paragraph down on the page.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'hadon hakol, l'teit gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kugei havratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot hadama, shelo samchakenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kekol hamonam, V'anaknu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. V'neimar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Rabbi,
You're muted, Rabbi.
unmute.
Sorry about that. At this, do I have to do the sermon again? I'm teasing. At this moment in our service, we now call to mind our own beloved dead, and we pray on their behalf. We voice the confidence that they are remembered for blessing. I ask that those in mourning or remembering the anniversary of the death of a loved one, should you wish at home, please rise when their name is mentioned. And we share the news. We share the news of the death this week of Phyllis Klausner. Her burial will be on Sunday. During Shloshim, we remember Arthur Wilkin, uncle of Sherry Paley. Remember the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Harry D. Barr, Lillian Bisnov, Sal Goldberg, William Goldman, Gloria Golphin, Martha P. Leonard, Tilly Merson, Louis W. Millen, Rose Molliver, Irving Pollock, Catherine A. Raffel, Morris Sachs, and Howard Volgemuth. Should you have a dear one to add, please unmute your computer and say their name. We also remember the dead this week from COVID-19. On each Shabbat, we also mention 6 names amongst the 6 million murdered in the Holocaust, the Shoah. This week, we remember Lebe Bayuk, Yitzhak Hirsch Bayuk, Label Bayuk, Yaakov Bayuk, Yirmiyahu Bakulchuk, and Yente Bakulchuk. In remembrance and solidarity, and on behalf of those for whom there is no one but us to say Kaddish, we now invite all to rise if you are able. Our Kaddish prayer, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'bizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba Mavarach Leolam Ulalmei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei Dekudasha B'rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for blessing. And I'm going to share the screen now for Adon Olam, led by Linda and our choir. Wait a second. Sorry about that. Press the wrong button there. May God's presence be with you and give you peace. Shabbat shalom. We're going to bring right up first Lisa Siegel for our announcements.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you for tonight's music, Linda. Tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. is Torah study. Email Rabbi if you'd like to join. Sisterhood is preparing a special Purim take-home oneg. We hope that we'll be able to share our take-home onegs together following the Purim celebration and clever cabaret on Saturday, February 27th. Anyone who wishes a Purim take-home oneg bag should RSVP to b'naisisters@gmail.com. Purim take-home oneg bags will be available for pickup at B'nai Israel on Friday, February 26th. Other pickup arrangements can be made by contacting Michelle Rosen at b'naisisters@gmail.com. The Megillah reading will be on Thursday, February 25th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Please email the office or the rabbi for the code. The Gansa Megillah, the whole story, will be presented in English with closed caption. Rabbi will offer a short instruction about Esther's wisdom and leadership. Readers will join Rabbi Eric and Linda presenting the Esther story in Hebrew and in English. Following the Megillah reading and making noise at each mention of the evil Haman. Purim celebration and clever cabaret, Saturday, February 27th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Email the office or rabbi for the code. There'll be special songs by our talented B'nai Israelites. It's fun for the whole family. There will be a costume contest. To enter, submit your name by February 25th and wear your costume on screen. There will be prizes and the auctioning of Heather's Heavenly Hamantashen. So this is your chance to get them. There will be a special virtual oneg chat after the performance organized by Sisterhood. Please email Michelle Rosen at MSR. I'll say this again. Start over. MSR2511@yahoo.com. At that time, you can enjoy your special take-home oneg from Sisterhood. Shabbat shalom, everybody. It's great as always.